I have watched a lot of shows, and I have seen a lot of driving forces for the bad guys, but this is the first time I've ever watched a show where the driving force for the main villain to send out his entire army of dragons is because a cake shop got robbed. Yes, not joking. That is the driving plot of Ragna Crimson, is a cake shop being robbed by thugs. But I do understand there's probably a concept behind that does technically make sense, but yes, I've watched the first episode of Ragna Crimson, which is a 2-episode long length show, and I have to say, there's aspects of it that I'm intrigued by, but other aspects of it that's just kind of, yes, another main character that is empowered by unlocking some hidden potential within themselves to make themselves super OP and fight off all the bad guys. It's apparently going for 2 cores, but let's jump into it. Ragna Crimson opens up in a world where there's humans and there's dragons, and we follow a guy named Ragna who, in his childhood, lost his parents to dragons, and then he was taken in by some relatives, and they were killed by dragons. Everybody thinks that he's cursed because everywhere he goes, people die to dragons. That trope. So we already got one trope in here. But yes, one day, while some people are beating him up because they believe that he's cursed and he's luring in the dragons, he's confronted by a girl named Leonica. And Leo pretty much extends a hand to him. You know, come with me, follow me, I'll show you that you're not cursed. And then they get attacked by dragons. He thinks that's going to happen again, and she kills him. Leo is like a very, very young prodigy. This girl, from a very early age, has been able to take down dragons really easily. As we jump to the current time, she's only 12 years old, and yet she is #1 in the dragon hunters. Like, she has killed the most dragons in her lifetime. And Ragna sees this and says, okay, I will follow you forever because finally I'm freed from this curse. Somebody is not going to die around me for once. He takes care of Leo and at the same time trains every single night in order to get stronger. Well, one night while he's training, he's confronted by a man that's in a cloak. And this man tells him that you can't protect Leo. One day, Leo is going to die. And Ragna can't get this out of his head. He's constantly thinking about this. He's even having nightmares about Leo dying. At the same time, it seems like the dragons are disappearing. There's less jobs to go hunt dragons, and everybody's kind of wondering where all the dragons went. Well, then one day, the dragons show up. They take out a nearby kingdom, and they're on the way to the location that Ragna's at. And Ragna remembers this. He remembers, this is the time that I seen in my visions, and so he tries to stop Leo, says we need to flee from here, but she charges right into combat. Ragna follows her, finds the one that is supposedly going to kill Leo. He's this superior dragon with these long tails that can attack his opponent. And he tries to take down his opponent before Leo gets there. And he's hoping that if he takes down this target, Leo won't die. Well, unfortunately, Ragna is effortlessly knocked to the side, and then he starts to see a vision again. The man in the cloak comes before him in his mind and tells him, you're too weak, you're going to lose Leo. This is the point where Ragna finally realizes the one that's been talking to him this whole time is in fact his future self. The self that lost Leo, spending years and years getting stronger and stronger, but unfortunately all of that effort was wasted. No matter how strong he got, he never got out of the fact that, yes, indeed, he lost Leo back then. Well, Ragna says, well, let's fix that. Give me the power that you obtained, that way I can save Leo. And that's the point when she said, yes, that's my plan. And he entrusts into Ragna the technique that he was able to mold. See, dragons in this world can die from 2 different things. Silver blades and sunlight. Apparently they're vampires. I don't know. I don't think I've ever read anything or watched anything where dragons burn from sunlight, but apparently that's a thing in this world. The technique that he had earned over so many years was basically turning his body into silver blades. This battle ore that he can envelop himself with, and everything he touches is pretty much like a blade. At the same time, we also get a future vision. These 2 individuals that are seemingly outside of time. One is Ragna in the future, and one is this individual that seeks to be reunited with the old Ragna. This chance meeting between the 2 of them, because their ultimate goal is to wipe all dragonkind off the face of the world. So my thoughts on Ragna Crimson. I'll have to admit, early on watching this show, I was getting like massive like Chaos Dragon vibes. If anybody out there has ever watched Chaos Dragon, that was a special show. With Chaos Dragon, pretty much the catalyst for all power in that show. It was literally like an episode by episode thing. Like every episode had to have this happen. Somebody dies around the main character and it empowers them to get stronger. It's that idea of when you see those that you love around you in dire straits or dead, it triggers something inside of you and makes you massively overpowered. It was almost like a joke in that show, and I almost felt like I had the same vibes getting into Ragna Crimson because the entire beginning segment is literally Leo's gonna die. Leo's gonna die. I'm like, okay, so when is Leo gonna die? Just let Leo die already. This cute little girl with this cute little fang thing going on, talking to, like she's so super and pure, and she's so fragile and small, but yet she's super overpowered. And you know that they can't have him hang out with Leo all the time because she's super overpowered. Eventually, this person that he looks up to and cares for so much is gonna die. Because this future self and all of the promos for the show is literally Edge Boy Ragna. Not this delicate boy that's following around Leo. He's this mean, I'm upset, I hate the world, Edge Boy Edge. And I'm like, when is Leo gonna die? And yeah, I have to say the ultimate build up to what they kind of reveal is, yes, kind of interesting. This idea that not just your typical, okay, I'm in the future, because it opens up essentially with Ragna in the future. He's walking around, he's gotten so powerful, all the dragons are just melting around him because he's so OP. But it kind of gives this indication that it's not enough. I need to get stronger. I need to go beyond these boundaries. There's a boundary here that I can't get past. And so my assumption was, like most of these reincarnated shows, reset. They go back, they reincarnate themselves younger so they can build up stronger. But it's not quite the same with Ragna, because the idea here is they're going beyond time itself. They've managed to break time, go in the past, and speak to his older self. And telling his older self to get stronger, you're too weak, but eventually bestowing everything they've learned to that younger self. So it is basically the same concept of a, reincarnate or whatever, but a different twist to it, I guess. An immediate power up for the main character. Let's get him super OP right off the bat. That way it's more fun. While it's cheap, it is kind of playing to the concept of the story itself. It does seem like some tragedy has happened over this period of time. And yeah, there's this massive regret of the idea that he couldn't protect Leo. How that can play into something interesting, I don't know. I'm always hesitant with these types of shows because it's just kind of a power fantasy kind of thing. It doesn't really have much substance to it besides look at the main character being massively OP and destroy everything around him. My gosh, he's so super cool, Edge Boy. The concern I have is around the main villain characters. This is the dragon monarchs, these most powerful, the gods themselves of the dragons, the ones that when they speak, everybody listens. And like I joked about at the beginning, but it's literally a thing in this episode is they tell Leo, do you want to know why we're attacking right now? The god that we look up to, the one that we always listen to, he likes cakes. And in this one kingdom over here, we never attacked it. Because they point out through the entire episode, there's this one kingdom that they never attack. They claim it as the kingdom that doesn't need dragon hunters. The reason is because they had some sort of pact with the dragons that they'll, not hurt them because there was a cake shop there. A cake shop. Their dragon god loves these cakes. They like sweets. And so they were letting the humans be because they liked to go over there and partake. He was a patron there. And one day, that cake shop got attacked by thieves. And it shut down. In the anime, it says it shut down. I think in the manga, it says that it got thieved. And so the god was upset, and he said, go destroy them all. Now, yes, it makes sense, but it's also funny. I mean, if you think of the idea that this whole thing is happening because a cake shop got robbed, it kind of sounds stupid. And that's kind of the overall upset that I have with the show so far is like, okay, that's our driving force for the bad guys. Great. But I do acknowledge that is sort of a concept of the dragons themselves. In a lot of stories, dragons don't really care about the humans. They're like insects. They're walking around and they step on one, who cares? They don't see humans as being equals. It's like us, humans to insects is like dragons to people. They just don't care. Oh, this little ant made a delicacy. I'm going to eat it. But it's not like I care about the lives of the ants. So it kind of turns it into almost like it's an excuse for us to just destroy you all. Because you're not really equal to us. You're insignificant to us. So you can kind of draw a little bit of poetry from the statement that we're destroying you because of a pastry shop, but it kind of gives credit to the idea of dragons not really seeing some significance to humans. Well, why are we destroying you all? Just think of it like you did the wrong thing. You stepped out of line briefly over something insignificant to you, and thus we're going to destroy you. It's dumb, but at the same time, I guess it makes sense. But it doesn't give me any hope to the story if a driving force for a dragon god is to kill all mankind over sweets, when mankind has been killing their kind for years. Dragon hunters is a thing in this world. They're constantly killing dragons, and if your concern is over a sweet shop and not your people being killed constantly, it's kind of weird. Not that I assume the dragon god cares about its own people, but it's still to the point. I think the only thing in this show that so far is kind of intriguing me is around this individual that is talking to Ragna in the future. This idea the two of them are working together in order to wipe out dragonkind, using time somehow in order to do that. Is it because this other individual with Ragna's future self knows how to control time? Why are they doing this? How do they fail in the future? Is it all about Leo, or is there some other thing here other than just the regrets of not saving Leo? I'm hoping something else is here to make any of this worth it, besides the war between dragons and humans over pastries. Visually, it looks fine. I think it's got an interesting style to it itself. There is a bit of use of CGI for the dragons, which is kind of a little bit but overall it looks decent. It's got an interesting style to it. I'm not sure if I really like the eyes, especially for Ragna. It looks a little bit too much. His buff up form is kind of cool, but we'll see where it goes from here. I'll be interested to see how long Leo lasts. I'm convinced at this point he's still gonna lose Leo, because they need the edge boy edge look, and this whiny kid version isn't probably selling much for mangas or whatever this manga is from. I do like Leo. I think she's super cute, but I don't think she fits the show. I don't think she fits the theme of the world itself, so that's kind of why I think she's toast eventually. Again, Chaos Dragon moment here. I do appreciate how well they portrayed Ragna in his conflict about losing Leo. I think some might think it might be a little bit drug out, because literally this 2-episode length episode was pretty much mostly comprised of Ragna constantly thinking Leo's gonna die. And so there is that little inner struggle that's happening, him constantly trying to push himself to get stronger and stronger, how it's affecting him mentally. He's getting more and more worn out. I think they kind of portray that decently well. But anyhow, that's my thoughts on the first episode of Ragna Crimson. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure that like button down below, comment. Let me know if you think of the series so far. Are you checking out the manga? Do you think the manga's good? I'll be interested to hear what you guys think about it. Again, it's technically going 2 cours, so looks like there's plenty of content to cover. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button, subscribe my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, I'll be doing first impressions of all the shows of the season. So if you want to get an idea of what it's about and my thoughts on it, definitely stick around. I know there's like 70 shows this season, so I know most people don't want to watch all of them, but I'll do it for you. I'll tell you if it's worth watching or not. Additionally, if you like this content and you want to support it more, I have a Patreon link, tips link, super thanks, membership button down below. Greatly appreciate everybody it does, and y'all take care.